So here again, we have the Apollo test cluster, and you can see here I currently have a 4-node system. And then over here on the right-hand side, you'll see this thing that says what's new, and it shows that I have 4 unconfigured nodes. Another way to see that would be to go here to cluster and click on the add nodes button. And what this will do is it'll show me that there are 4 additional unconfigured nodes that I can add to this cluster. Shows me their model number, shows me their current MAC IDs, and their current software version. Of course, I'm on the same software version I'm currently running on this cluster. To add an additional node, it's a simple matter. Let me just add one here real quick. I'm going to unselect these other 3, and I'm just going to add 1 node to this cluster. And it's a simple matter of clicking on this add selected node to the cluster. It's asking me if I want to put this onto this Apollo test node cluster. I say yes, and the system will then go off and add this node to the cluster. This is going to take, a few seconds to a minute depending on the size of the node and the size of the cluster, but it's going to do this in real time while I have clients mounted. Now as that node is being added into the cluster, its additional capacity is actually growing in real time, as you can see here. So where we were at about 412 terabytes of usable capacity, here we're at over 540 as that node's capacity is added into the cluster as a whole. So we had 4 nodes. Now we're adding this 5th node, and as you can see, its capacity is being added to the cluster in real time. So as you can see, that node's now been added, and we now have a total of 572 terabytes of available data capacity now usable in this cluster. Now, if I wanted to continue to add more nodes to the cluster and continue to add more capacity, it's a simple matter again of going off and seeing all the unconfigured nodes. So as you can see here, I have 3 more unconfigured nodes that I could add to the system. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and add all 3 of them into this cluster. It's asking me if I want to add these 3 nodes to the cluster. I'm going to say, yep, go ahead and add it. And now the system's going to go off and add those 3 nodes. So whether I want to add 1 node at a time or if I want to add 3 nodes at a time, I can go off and easily do that with this operation. This is going to take a few minutes as the nodes join, the system rebalances, and all the capacity of those nodes. So now what I've done here is I've built an 8-node HPE Apollo 4200 system, and it'll eventually, as all these nodes join in and the rebalancing operation takes place, you'll see this number grow from over 572 terabytes to well over a petabyte of capacity. So we'll give that a couple of minutes, as it goes through and does its thing, and then we'll finish up this demo. As you can see, the system is starting to join those nodes in their capacity, so we'll continue to grow the cluster in real time, as you can see here, from 639 terabytes, 642 terabytes, and so on and so forth. So as it adds those nodes into the system, it continues to add its capacity into that system, and it will grow this thing as you can see. When we're all done, we should be close to a petabyte, about 900 and some odd terabytes as we go through. And there, as you can see, the cluster has now added all those new nodes into it and all their capacity. And so we have a cluster now of 8 HPE Apollo 4200 nodes at 932 terabytes of usable capacity, so just shy of a petabyte.